So, I'm going to explain how this series is going to go. There will be no gameplay on the back because, well, the gameplay just messed up the audio on the voice recording. I don't know how did that happen, but anyway, this series will be some sort of a podcast style thingy. So there will be just my very dumb logo. Well, without further ado, let's get on with the video, shall we? Hello and welcome to the first episode of My Thoughts, a series, as the name suggests. I give you my thoughts, opinion, and first impressions on stuff. In this episode, I'm gonna talk about the problems with Overwatch and why I prefer Paladins. And as a mandatory disclaimer, I don't hate Overwatch. It is just that there are lots of problems with it. And I do realize that I am very late for this video trend. You get that? Okay? Now let's get on with the video. Problem number 1. The bad optimization. I kinda mentioned this in the last week's video. The optimization is the reason why I can't really capture any footage for Overwatch. Because for some reason, the game gets laggy when I try to record it. Paladins is a very good game that you can, like, I mean, yeah, like you can optimize it very well. Like, it is kind of dumb and weird that a game by Hi-Res Studios, who is one of the most untrustworthy game developers ever, can create a game that is more optimized than a game by a triple A game company, Blizzard Entertainment. It is kind of mind-boggling. Also, in a side note, the the tutorials in both games are a little bit different. Like the tutorial in Paladins is better than in Overwatch. Point made. Now for the second problem. The characters are two-dimensional gameplay-wise. All the heroes are the same. The only differentiating factors are the heroes with the cosmetic options and the player's skill. Every Tracer is the same. Every Reinhardt is the same. That is not a thing in Paladins because of the deck system. You can change how you play the character completely. Even more so with talents. These sort of legendary level perks that you pick at the start of the match to match your playstyle. For example, there is this this Spanish guy named Fernando who has a shield. You can create a deck that makes him a more tankier, and by picking a talent called Aegis, you can hold your shield indefinitely, and its cooldown has been reduced. Problem number 3. The hero designs are boring. They are rooted in this world, even though the game is set in the future. In my opinion, the support and tank characters are most interesting, at least for most cases. And I am also talking about the visual looks of the heroes. A Swiss doctor isn't as interesting as a robot monk who heals his allies with some sort of spiritual healing orb thingy. And he also makes the enemies take more damage with this another spiritual orb thingy. And it's a Brazilian DJ who heals and gives you a speed boost with music. That also becomes for tanks. Like, let me ask you a question. Which one sounds more interesting? A German old guy who is some sort of futuristic medieval armor and swings people with a giant hammer, or a genetically modified hamster who rolls around in a mech and the mech has landmines, grappling hooks, and machine guns. I think the latter sounds a little bit more creative and interesting if you ask me. But that is yet again not a thing in Paladins. Like the creativity for the designs, both gameplay wise and visuals side, are much more creating, taking to the fact that the game is a fantasy setting. I mean, the game has a fantasy setting. Also, do excuse me because for some reason I just happen to speak a lot of wrong that I have written in the script, if that makes any sense. And I think that it doesn't make any sense, and I am also padding the runtime of this video. Where was I? Oh yes, the character designs in Paladins. For example, there's a flanker called Zin. It is this some sort of leader of a crime league or a crime syndicate. This guy has a flaming sword which then fires flames at the enemies. Also, there is like a tree that heals people around him and throws people with a like he kills people with a throwing axe. I mean, how cool is that? And there are also many other things that I'm not going to count. Anyway, and finally, problem number 4. The balancing is mostly a joke. The people on the developing team, like, they mostly listen to crybabies on Reddit. A great example of is the handicapping nerf to Roadhog. Roadhog is this Australian guy who is extremely overweight. He has a shotgun and a hook. Like when games release to the like May/June of last year, this guy was pretty overpowered, and the hitboxes on his hook was very ridiculous. Like you could hook someone behind the wall or some obstacle. May/June of last year, he was completely changed. His damage was decreased, and again the hook required pinpoint accuracy that made him very unfun to play. I mean, the hitbox on his hook was ridiculous, like, but the nerf still was unnecessary, at least for the damage part. And couple of months after that, they give a Korean esports game called Diva. Like this character rides in a mech, who is also a tank. Like they removed his defensive capabilities and added some micro missiles. Like with this, I mean they reduced his defensive capabilities by reducing the timer on his on her her defense matrix. This defense matrix is ability that deletes almost all the projectiles and things you throw at her. So yeah, and like this was one of the reasons why they nerfed Roadhog. They removed his offensive capabilities because they wanted him to feel more tanky. And after that, they give they do they give Diva exactly that, or except maybe in reverse. You know, and that's and I do realize that Paladins developer guy has done many screw ups. For example, the open beta patch 64 was a complete disaster. Like, just search it up on YouTube. You'll find lots of many videos that explains it. Well, and also they just recently nerfed a character because the console players were complaining about that character. So yeah. And those are the reasons why I prefer Paladins over Overwatch. It was surprisingly hard to write all the points and in the script and to be like a little bit objective. Like not like I was going to tell how you needed much more individual skill in Paladins than you do in Overwatch, but then I realized that maybe I'm a little bit wrong. I hope you all like this kind of content, and I will see you in the next video. Goodbye.